Welcome back, everybody, to the Yore Town Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and that is over there. You can't really see it unless you're watching it, but joining me in the Yore Town studio that has multiple different studios within it is the beautiful Megh. What's up, Megh?
Hey.
Got another interesting one. We were hanging out today, and I said, hey, we got 16 out of the 50 states. Do you think that maybe we should come up with a new state? And you're like, yep. And you said, which state?
Oregon.
Which some people are going, did you say Oregon? I don't even know how to say it anymore because most people are like Oregon. But it says Oregon, origami. It's a confusing word. So you might hear Oregon. You might hear Oregon. Just deal with it. Or feel free to, chime into all the social medias and tell us how wrong we are because those are always fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind them. Engagement is good. But we're gonna have a beverage and tell you a story from Oregon in the past. And this one's a little bit interesting. And while we grabbed a beverage, a thought came into my head. I said, Meg, we're almost officially out of being able to put the beverages, our beers, on the porch and keep them cold season.
I know.
And I'm super excited about it.
Are you? I love second fridge season.
I do, but at the same point, it turns out I don't like being cold. I like cold beverages occasionally. I don't. I'm ready for spring. I'm ready for summer. I'm ready for nice weather. It's been a long couple of months.
Mm.
So
I just need like a walk-in cooler then.
Okay.
/ freezer.
Okay, what I'll tell you is when all of these lovely people go to our Patreon that doesn't exist and continues to donate whatever money we have left over from them donating, like we said in our last episode, to our honeymoon that we haven't taken yet, we'll put it towards a walk-in cooler. Deal?
Okay.
We're going to need a bigger studio, though, to have a walk-in cooler. Is that cool?
Sure.
She didn't say no. It's on the
Well,
podcast.
I was thinking, I feel like I'd prefer a walk-in pantry over a fridge. Not that I'm thinking about it.
A walk-in pantry. We do have one of those. It's just not cleaned up.
It's a closet.
Well, that's on you. Anyways, just kidding. So we're going to have a walk-in pantry closet with all the amazing Yore Town money we're bringing in soon. I'm excited. Hopefully they all love this episode, and this is the one that puts us on the map. But if it doesn't put us on the map, it's going to put us on the map on the yoretown.com website because we just had our 17th out of 50th state, Oregon. So shout out to that. Check out yoretown.com if you'd like. Also check out deluxeeditionnetwork.com. Podcast of the month is Bacon is My Pod and the Beard Laws Podcast. I wouldn't check out the Beard Laws Podcast. I heard it's terrible, but definitely check out Bacon is My Pod because who doesn't love bacon and podcasts? So today, again, we are going to journey ourselves into the mysterious past of Copperfield, Oregon. Tucked away in the Pacific Northwest, Copperfield may seem like any other quaint town, but beneath its surface lies a history filled with intrigue, scandal, and whispers of the supernatural.
Dun, dun, dun.
Boom. Nailed it. So let's try to do the introduction. Last week didn't work. So sorry to the YouTubers, but I did go ahead and edit it in for our audio-only listeners. Let's try it. Whenever Meg says go.
Ready, set, go.
Maybe it worked. Maybe it didn't. But either way, we're back at it. We're going to talk about Copperfield. I'm super excited. Sorry about the squeaky chair, everybody. I need some WD-40 in my life. Check out that Patreon that doesn't exist so we can afford some WD-40. All kidding aside, Copperfield, it's a former town in Baker County in the U.S. state of
Oregon.
Not known as the Trail. Everybody knows this thing, or more people know it. We're from the East Coast. We don't know a ton about the West Coast, but when I hear Oregon or Oregon, it's the Trail. Everybody knows the Trail, but this isn't that trail. But this place sits on the west bank of the Snake River and also on the north bank of Pine Creek, downstream of a feature of the Snake River known today as Oxbow, which is kind of cool because there is Oxbow references in towns and places near us.
Mm-hmm.
So to understand Copperfield, we must first travel back to its founding days in the late 1800s. The town owes its name to the copper mines that attracted settlers seeking fortune and opportunity, the promise of wealth drew people from all walks of life, from seasoned miners to ambitious entrepreneurs. And according to a writer slash journalist or whatever they might have gone by back in the day in Oregon, Stuart Holbrook said that there was actually no copper in Copperfield and that the community had one purpose, namely to cater the uninhibited appetites of more than 2,000 men who were engaged onto two nearby construction projects. Right? So you have this guy that's writing this, but there's also documentation that in 1895, prospectors found copper on both sides of the Snake River, but the mines couldn't actually be developed because they had transportation issues. It's kind of a bummer, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We got all this money, this fortune, this copper, but we can't do anything with it because there's just no way to move it.
Yeah, that would be a bummer.
That'd be a huge bummer. But you would think that they would be able to get through there. And then in 1898, along a Northwest Railway Company line that just never developed, which actually led to a lot of these transportation issues, false hopes, and everything, there was this land, Copperfield. Then they put in a post office in 1899. So it's officially a town. It's officially a place. The population grew to 1,000 people by 1910. There were actually two tunnels. Tunnels. I just dug in tunnels is now Dunnels. Words are tough. But these two tunnels are actually dug near the Oxbow by a local railroad company as kind of like an early power plant and the actually predecessor of the Idaho Power Company, which some people in the present time in that area might actually know about that right now. But as Copperfield flourished, so did the corruption, the violence, and all of the bad things that seems to come with some mining towns and development of people in townships. So the town became a hub for illicit activities, from gambling dens, brothels, and they actually catered to the desires of the miners and the transient population. At its peak, Copperfield was a bustling town that approached around 3,000 people. But life in Copperfield was far from easy. The harsh conditions of the mines, the construction workers, the remote location, kind of made for a very challenging existence for its residents. People start to kind of leave jobs. They start to go away. But what jobs were left? The competition started to become pretty intense. Saloon owners, they start feuding. Businesses, they started being burnt to the ground. Arson, underage drinking, other violent crimes, they're growing. And right around, I believe it was the 1910s, 19 whatever, the town is actually considered lawless. So here comes Governor Oswald West. He says, you know what? I'm going to send my secretary, Fern Hobbs, with a signed declaration of martial law because we need to clean up this place. You might be thinking, who? Vern Hobbs? Pretty cool name, right? Could she actually, though, handle being sent down here to go into these bars, tell a lot of these huge, violent saloon owners to, hey, guess what? You're closing. Wow, she's 5'3", right around 104 pounds, according to the research done. 28-year-olds at the time, but she's not your ordinary secretary. She actually left on her own age. She left on her own at the age of just 12. She completed her high school education and actually fought her way through life working as a governess for a wealthy family before learning stenography and actually typing. She becomes a secretary to the president of the Portland Title Guarantee and Trust Company. Because of her outstanding work, she moved to the Ladd Estate Company. At this time, she was caring for her younger brother and sister, actually seeing to their education. Next came her job at the Capitol. She continued to work hard. She actually obtains a law degree at Willamette, probably said it wrong, University, successfully passing the bar in 1913.
I'd say Willamette.
Yeah, that was pretty close. But she leaves at 12, right? Finishes her education, works, gets a law degree, and now she's sent to go tell this town, hey, martial law. So obviously on the outside, she's pretty small, but on the inside, she was fierce.
Hey, we both thought the same word.
It's crazy.
Fierce.
So her and 5 military personnel arrive by train in Copperfield. And they caught wind, the whole town, and they're thinking, this is going to be awesome. So they welcome them. They decorate the town. Whatever's left of people, reportedly under 100 people at this time, they turn out. They want to greet her. They want to greet them. They even had a welcoming committee, some reports said, with bouquets. The city councilmen, everything are there. So on behalf of the governor, Hobbs presents all city councilors with resignation papers to sign.
Oof.
Right out the gate. Hey, we're here. So on the advice of James Nichols, an attorney, they decline these paperworks. But it's not going to be that easy. Hobbs then turns matters over to Colonel B.K. Lawson, and then she leaves. She just jumps on the 4:00 train, says, see you later, stays at a hotel, and off she goes. Her job is done. It's not done, though. Lawson then reads the Mayor West's proclamation of martial law, posted that the 3 saloons that were left must be closed, and places military personnel at each door. It does get a little bit crazy. There are reports, it started with 5. Next thing you know, there's 10, and kind of conflicting reports because of the time, the area, and everything else in there. The craziest thing, or the most amount that I saw in there was, I think, about 20 military personnel that are coming in here. And again, if there's only around 100 people, 20 military people, that's quite a lot, because not only do they come in, but they then confiscate all the weapons in the town, which, again, the report, which we'll tell you in the sources, was around 170 weapons. They not only take all the weapons, they take the liquor, they take the gambling equipment. They ended up taking 10,000 pounds of liquor, beer, as mentioned, the gambling devices, and I'm not sure why this was in there, but it was reported a couple of racy pictures. They load it all up onto the train, and they bring it to Baker. The gambling devices were actually burned by the troops right at their city dump. Whew. Could you imagine that scene? And I mean, there's reports too that some of these saloon owners, there was a couple that are just names that I couldn't pronounce. They were like 6'6", like some monstrous people. But throughout all this, obviously, with all the lawlessness and underage drinking and stuff, it was lawless at the time. They had to do something. Was martial law the right answer? I don't know. But does the ending for this town end up good? Does everything, work itself out? Well, I guess we should probably keep going, huh? Mayor Henry A. Stewart and Councilman William Wigand. I don't know how to say that one. That's a tough one. But they were obviously saloon owners. Those were the 2 of the 3. The third one I could not say. There was more vowels and consonants. It began with a K, had some Z's in there. If you were playing Cashword and had all those letters, you're not winning anything on that lottery ticket. They actually said, "Hey, we're gonna bring a lawsuit against West, Hobbs, Lawson, everybody, and anybody and everybody that brought in this martial law." The governor ordered Lawson to ignore it. They were fearful that Rand would arrest him for contempt of court. Lawson requested reinforcement, and then here you go, more military men arrive in the town. Now, what became known as the Copperfield Affair, if you want to Google and read more about there, then goes to court. All right. Obviously, these guys, I say, hey, we just lost our business. You gave us martial law. You took everything from us. And the judge apparently rules that the declaration of martial law could not be enjoined by the courts, but that the saloon owners could bring a civil action for damages if the governor had abused their rights. They wanted at the time, for damages done and all that stuff, they wanted around $8,000. All right. But the decision was made and was actually upheld by the Oregon Supreme Court. They lose. Not only do they miss out on the opportunity at $8,000, they actually had to pay for the trial. But now the saloon owners, they go back to court. But this time they're in trouble. They are they're tried for selling alcohol to minors. The ex-mayor, H.A. Stewart, was tried. He was the first one up. 5 minutes. 5 whole minutes. He was acquitted. The mayor, good. And guess how many other people were tried? None. None.
Wow.
Yeah. The saloons in Copperfield, they never reopened. And in the late 1915-ish era, less than 100 people. I think it was even down to like 82, 83. And obviously they had to leave. But the main reason they left, there was some kind of mysterious fire that did occur that nobody got in trouble for. They don't even know who did it. And it burned down pretty much most of the town. But, the only thing that really was around at that point still was the post office. Yeah, again, there's rumors, there's speculation, but again, nobody was actually held accountable for the fire that kind of finished off this town. The town just struggles, the people that are there. I don't really know what they could do. I mean, there's no saloons, there's no nothing. The town is pretty much at this point a ghost town, but it becomes officially a ghost town in 1927 when the post office closes. It's wild.
Huh.
It's just unbelievable and unfortunate, really. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So how do these fires keep breaking out?
There was a big arson problem. So it sounds
Even
like
after all that happened?
I mean, yeah, there was still some violence. There was still some things going on. And then, maybe some people planned on leaving. Obviously, we're not around at the time. There's nothing reported. But maybe my first impression was like, you know what? I'm out of this town. I've had enough. Nobody should reopen this town. And they just start burning, start just taking care of some stuff. And again, Oxbow, even if you look at it now, it's still just pretty much an unclaimed territory. In the United States, there's just nothing there. I know in like 1965, the power company, kind of tried to do some stuff. There was that power, like a pre-early age power dam and some stuff that was work that was done when they kind of dug the tunnels and everything. And there's just nothing there. Just land. I think a lot of it's just kind of used for, horses, sheep, just kind of some farm animals. Just nobody really living there. It's unreal. And the more you look into it, there was kind of some other articles, some other towns when I was doing some research. There's a decent amount of land over there in the Pacific Northwest and, this kind of area that is just kind of the same, kind of had a wild, dark past. The town goes away and never rebuilds it. There's really nothing there. I mean, the mining shot, no transportation, no good land. It's just there. Yeah. Shout out to the Oregon, however you want to say it, genealogy.com, Wikipedia. We love Wikipedia. Oregon Encyclopedia and around.uoregon.edu. All good sites. A lot of good information there. Shout out to everybody that did the research and stuff there. Do a little bit of a quote. You want to read the quote?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll read the quote. You can learn all kinds of habits quickly under martial law by Kurt Vonnegut Jr., also known as Deadeye Dick. Or from Deadeye Dick. Maybe it's a book. I don't know.
Or is it two different people?
Maybe it's two different people. Maybe it's a book. Maybe it's a movie. Maybe it's something that we'll do in a future episode. So that's all I got. You got anything else, Meg?
Nope.
All right. Make sure you guys check out some previous episodes. YoreTown.com. This is all available on all the social media or any place you could get a podcast. And we got a YouTube. We got an Instagram. I don't know where Zach's been. He's hanging around. Hopefully everything's good with him. Maybe he'll start writing some stuff. Maybe he'll start posting on the gram. I'm sorry that I haven't had a lot of time to post on Instagram. Maybe you want to learn how to post on Instagram?
I'm not very good at that stuff.
They say you can teach an old dog new tricks.
I'm pretty old.
And you're not a dog. But all right.
These mining towns tend to have some pretty interesting stories.
I know. And I was really hoping that because I started looking into some more, and then there was like the shootout, the double murder, and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is going to be even wilder in this town. There were towns pretty close to this place, but it wasn't actually Copperfield. But I have to imagine.
Well, maybe we could expand on it.
That's what I'm thinking.
In the future.
Yeah, we can add some more. And especially the people. You guys love Oregon. That should be a town within it. You know how they do other states in the states? We'll do Oregon, or Oregon
Spelled the
Oregon.
same but pronounced differently.
Exactly. But yeah, we could do a couple more if you guys are into this. The Wild West was the Wild West, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there was a lot of murders. There was a lot of crime. And I have to imagine there were in some of these articles that we went over, that we did give the sources to, there was some stuff, but I couldn't find more of the information. So I didn't really want to put out there, but there was talks of, like a potential, like I said, a murder of this one. There was like these infamous people in the towns that were kind of raising hell, and there just wasn't enough detail to kind of throw it out there. And I don't know. I don't know the actual thing. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a researcher, but I would have to imagine that if I want to find the same kind of information in multiple sources,
right,
to make sure it's good, you know what I mean? So there wasn't a lot there, but I have to imagine there is a lot there. That just some untold stories. So if anybody happens to maybe be in that, Baker County or Oxbow area, maybe a historian, and you just happen to stumble upon this and you had some cool information about this story or something else, please hit us up. That'd be awesome. And also, if there's any historians out there, small towns, big towns, we'd love to have you give us a topic, give us a story, and we'll give all the credit, the links, anything you want. We would love to continue to learn about this. I'm loving not only spending time with the beautiful Megh, but doing this history and just learning a lot about our country and small towns, big stories and stuff like that. So this is awesome. Hopefully you're enjoying it as well. So to recap, Oregon could be said several different ways depending where you live. Wild story in Copperfield. Apparently there wasn't really even enough copper in here to be able to go anywhere, and we would love historians to submit some cool stories. And Meg's gonna figure out Instagram. That's all I got. Anything else?
Okay.
Yeah,
that wasn't a yes. That was a sarcasm.
I didn't pick up on that, and neither did I. But either way, check out the Patreon we don't have, yoretown.com. We appreciate everybody. That's all we got. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's go finish our beverages. Okay, take care, everybody.
Bye.